You're watching the Weather Channel. Live by it.
Weather got in the way of the shuttle's landing.
NASA promises it will land tomorrow, but the question is, where?
And new energy bill is saving us more daylight and changing the way that you set your clock.
The kids are already a little bummed that summer's over, but going back to school in rain gear?
Well, the parents aren't so bummed. Tomorrow's back-to-school forecast, next on Evening Edition.
Live from the Weather Channel, this is Evening Edition.
In 2 years, we will spring ahead earlier and fall back later. Good evening, I'm Jennifer Lopez.
And I'm Paul Goodlow. Today, President Bush signed a comprehensive energy bill into law, and the bill includes a 4-week expansion of daylight saving time.
And let's bring in Jim Cantori. And Jim, while it won't solve America's energy problems right away, there is something we will notice.
Absolutely, and that's exactly what we're going to be talking about here as we go through the next several years. And a lot of people, of course, concerned about this. We're talking about your clock changing, that's for sure. Let's take a look of the reason the changing the daylight savings time is the energy bill that is apparently going to save us a lot of energy here coming up. Let's take a look at what we've got here. We did our homework and certainly came up with some of the research that they talked about in this clock, and it is going to be mainly a clock change here that we're talking about. So let's take a look at the package.
Congress has decided to change the way that we change our clocks.
This vote, the yeas are 74, the nays are 26. The conference report is agreed to.
Aiming to save energy, the new $14.5 billion bill extends daylight saving time by 4 weeks, beginning in 2007. Currently, daylight saving time begins on the first Sunday in April and ends on the last Sunday in October. Under the new law, it would begin 3 weeks earlier, on the second Sunday in March, and end a week later, the first Sunday in November. Daylight saving time cuts the need for artificial light in the evenings, which saves energy. The downside, more dark mornings.
One of the first things we think about for the elementary students, we think about the darkness in the morning for the students catching the bus. My goal will be to educate everyone about the extra safety that we're going to have to observe that extra week in November and those 3 weeks in March.
But some businesses could benefit.
But after work, people come out and play quite a bit. Now, during daylight savings time, they have more time to do that. During the winter time, it's very hard for them to come out and spend 30, 45 minutes before it gets to be dark.
And even schools see some advantages.
The schools that do not have lighted playing fields will welcome the 3 weeks of daylight savings time, especially in the baseball, soccer, and the other outdoor sports that we have.
Daylight saving time was first observed in the U.S. in 1918, but Ben Franklin came up with the idea back in 1784. Under the new bill, some lawmakers wanted 2 more months of daylight saving time, but compromised with a 4-week extension to begin in March of 2007.
All right, of course, the reason for that change in daylight savings time is that the energy bill will hopefully save us some energy here. So the research that we did, on average, and it's going to save the United States about 1% in usage. So you're talking about millions of dollars here. Take 1% of that, it's still going to be millions of dollars. And the fact that we burn millions of tons of coal for electricity a year, we're going to be saving on that as well. 1/4 of all energy used in the U.S. is used in small appliances like TVs, something we use less when it's light outside. And of course, daylight savings is not as effective in the months with the least amount of daylight from November to February. And a lot of people are very concerned about some of the new electronics here, because we may actually have some problems like Y2K, Jennifer.
All right. Well, early tomorrow morning, the Space Shuttle Discovery will try again to return to Earth. Bad weather in Florida this morning prevented today's scheduled landing. The Shuttle Discovery has 4 tries in 3 possible locations to try to land tomorrow. And Mission Commander astronaut Eileen Collins took the news this morning in stride.
We just can't get comfortable with the stability of the situation for this particular opportunity. So we're going to officially wave you off for 24 hours.
Okay, Houston, we copy that. We'll be a wave off for today. We copy all the weather.
All right, but the weather in Florida tomorrow morning may not cooperate with NASA's plan to land in the morning hours. Since poor weather forced NASA to scratch today's Florida landing, 2 Florida landing opportunities, you can believe they're closely monitoring the weather for tomorrow. And I remember us talking about it Friday night. We were saying that we could still see some low clouds across that area for early this morning.
Yeah, I mean, we aren't going to see a lot of change in the weather from tomorrow morning to what we had this morning. But the key is NASA really wants to get this thing on the ground. So that's what we're going to try to do. Let's take a look at the radar tonight. You can see some leftover showers certainly in and around Cape Canaveral. Now, what this turns into overnight, some cloud debris, maybe some anvil showers from time to time. But all in all, we've just got a really messy pattern that's just been sitting over Florida here. Let's take a look at some of the landing woes here that we'll be talking about as we work our way through the next 24 hours. And typically in the summer, you're going to see a lot of these showers and thunderstorms offshore with the we call sea breeze, or land breeze at night. Okay, they all move offshore. But we've got this upper level low, tropical moisture coming across, a lot of showers and storms, some of them even going after the sun goes down. So that leaves a lot of low clouds and debris. And of course, there's a tremendous amount of criteria here that gets this shuttle on the ground. And what we're hoping for, of course, is just enough of a hole to get this thing into Kennedy Space Center. That's the key. We want to get to land there, because if you've got to take one of the alternative sites and head over toward White Sands and Edwards, even though these are fair forecasts here, it takes a lot of dollars, number one, and energy to get that shuttle back toward Kennedy Space Center. Guys?
Thanks, Jim. We got several more storm stories to tell you about, including more of the monsoon bringing more moisture into the southwest.
And speaking of storms, it was definitely not a day at the beach in Myrtle Beach. The southeast has seen rain for days. Is there an end in sight?
Oh,